Short stories for learning English. 3 feet from gold.
During the gold rush, a man who had been mining in Colorado for several months quit his job as he hadn't struck gold yet and the work was becoming tiresome. He sold his equipment to another man who resumed mining where it had been left off. The new miner was advised by his engineer that there was gold only 3 feet away from where the first miner stopped digging. The engineer was right, which means the first miner was a mere 3 feet away from striking gold before he quit. The moral: when things start to get hard, try to persevere through the adversity. Many people give up on following their dreams because the work becomes too difficult, tedious, or tiresome, but often you're closer to the finish line than you may think. And if you push just a little harder, you will succeed.
Rocks, pebbles, and sand.
A philosophy professor once stood up before his class with a large empty mayonnaise jar. He filled the jar to the top with large rocks and asked his students if the jar was full. His students all agreed the jar was full. He then added small pebbles to the jar and gave the jar a bit of a shake so the pebbles could disperse themselves among the larger rocks. Then he asked again, "Is the jar full now?" The students agreed that the jar was still full. The professor then poured sand into the jar to fill up all the remaining empty space. The students then agreed again that the jar was full. The metaphor. In this story, the jar represents your life and the rocks, pebbles, and sand are the things that fill up your life. The rocks represent the most important projects and things you have going on, such as spending time with your family and maintaining proper health. This means that if the pebbles and the sand were lost, the jar would still be full and your life would still have meaning. The pebbles represent the things in your life that matter, but that you could live without. The pebbles are certainly things that give your life meaning, such as your job, house, hobbies, and friendships, but they are not critical for you to have a meaningful life. These things often come and go and are not permanent or essential to your overall well-being. Finally, the sand represents the remaining filler things in your life and material possessions. This could be small things such as watching television, browsing through your favorite social media site, or running errands. These things don't mean much to your life as a whole and are likely only done to waste time or get small tasks accomplished. The moral. The metaphor here is that if you start with putting sand into the jar, you will not have room for rocks or pebbles. This holds true with the things you let into your life. If you spend all of your time on the small and insignificant things, you will run out of room for the things that are actually important. In order to have a more effective and efficient life, pay attention to the rocks because they are critical to your long-term well-being. A wise man's jokes. A wise man once faced a group of people who were complaining about the same issues over and over again. One day, instead of listening to the complaints, he told them a joke and everyone cracked up laughing. Then the man repeated the joke. A few people smiled. Finally, the man repeated the joke a third time, but no one reacted. The man smiled and said, "You won't laugh at the same joke more than once." So what are you getting from continuing to complain about the same problem? The moral. You're not going to get anywhere if you keep complaining about the same problem but do nothing to fix it. Don't waste your time complaining, expecting other people to continue to react to your complaints. Instead, take action to make a change. Breathe in with no air. A boy once asked a wise old man what the secret to success is. After listening to the boy's question, the wise man told the boy to meet him at the river in the morning, and he would be given the answer there. In the morning, the wise man and the boy began walking toward the river. They continued on into the river, past the point of the water covering their nose and mouth. At this time, the wise man ducked the boy into the water. As he struggled to get out, the wise man continued to push him further down. The boy felt a fish slip by his leg and squirmed to get up even harder. The man eventually pulled the boy's head up so he could get air. The boy gasped as he inhaled a deep breath of air. The wise man said, "What were you fighting for when you were underwater?" The boy replied, "Air?" The man said, "There you have the secret to success. When you want to gain success as much as you wanted air when you were underwater, you will obtain it. That's the only secret." The moral: success starts with the desire to achieve something. If your motivation is weak, your results will follow suit. Think about what you desire the most in life and work towards getting it. Don't allow your environment or other people to influence the things that you truly want. Just because the fish swimming by is comfortable with being underwater doesn't mean that you are. Teamwork. There was once a man who lived with his 3 sons. His sons were hard workers, but they constantly fought with each other. Even though the man continuously tried to help his sons make peace with each other, he was never successful. In fact, their fighting got to a point where their neighbors would make fun of them. Eventually, the father became ill. He begged his sons to learn how to work together because of his impending death, but they didn't listen. The father then decided to teach his sons a practical lesson to help his sons forget their differences and become a united team. The father called his sons and said, "I'll give you each an equal collection of sticks to break in half. Whoever breaks the sticks the fastest will be rewarded." After agreeing to the task, the father gave each of his sons 10 sticks and instructed them to break each stick in half. This task took the sons mere minutes to complete, but once they were finished, they started to fight about who finished first. The father said, "Dear sons, the task isn't finished. Now I'll give each of you 10 more sticks. However, you must break the sticks in half as a bundle rather than snapping each one separately." His sons agreed and attempted to do what he had asked. They each tried their best, but none could break the bundle in half. They told their father that they had failed. In response, their father said, "See, it was easy to break the sticks in half individually, but you couldn't break all 10 of them at the same time. Similarly, if the 3 of you stay united as a team, nobody will be able to harm you. However, if you fight all the time, anyone will be able to defeat you. Please come together as a united team." This lesson helped the man's sons understand the power of being a team and promised their father that, moving forward, they would work together as a team, no matter what the situation was. The moral: being an effective member of a team helps contribute to the overall moral and motivation of the team. Strong teams are naturally aligned to work harder, support each other, and be cooperative with working toward a mutual goal. Individuals each have diverse talents, strengths, and weaknesses to contribute to teamwork, so staying focused on the task at hand rather than allowing personal disputes to get in the way will help you achieve your desired results. Frogs for dinner. A lady was once heating up a pot of water on a gas stove with the intent of cooking pasta for her family for dinner. A frog fell into the pot while it was sitting on the stove. While it wasn't his intention to be stuck in a pot of water, he didn't try to escape. He was comfortable enough as he was. The lady soon turned on the flame to begin boiling the water. As the water's temperature began to rise, the frog was able to adjust his body temperature accordingly, so he remained in the pot without trying to do anything to change the situation. However, as the water approached its boiling point, the frog's body temperature could no longer keep up. He finally tried to jump out of the pot, but with water temperature continuing to increase, he didn't have it in him to make the leap. It was too late for the frog to save himself. The moral: things don't always go as planned in life, and they certainly don't always go the way we want them to. But no matter how bad a situation is, it's critical to be proactive and face the problem head-on. Unlike the frog, who waited until the last minute to try to do anything about the problem he was clearly facing, it's important to project the future outcomes of the obstacles that hinder you and mediate them before they get past the point of no return. You have to avoid wasting time and take appropriate action before problems get out of hand or become too much to handle. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.